I saved this because I don't want to give this too much attention. People making really stupid comments, but I'll read it. And I said I would, so I will. So I got this comment, and it starts like this. Don't confuse with the numinous with a religious impulse, as you call it. Satisfying the urge for the numinous with religion is the aberrant behavior, as it is and always will be the accepting of something on bad or no evidence. The only strange thing here is you and your obsession with other people's sexuality, a common thing amongst the faithful. People's intellect have very little, if anything, to do with their sexuality. That is just seen as such because the Bronze Age herdsmen, whose myth you seem to take as a guideline, were obsessed with lineage. Okay, numinous has a spiritual, or something numinous has a spiritual or religious quality. Are you seriously going to tell me that there is something inherently holy about methamphetamine, you fucking retard? Yet, despite lacking those qualities, these homosexuals into this chemsex bullshit, they treat it as such. They treat their sexuality as this great thing. They worship it. Our entire culture does. I am a social commentator. I comment on society. And this is what society is putting out there. This is what society considers worthy of our attention, worthy of our praise. Want me to read that thing I read at the beginning? You know what? I will. And it says, I'll just read the highlighted part. No longer a discrete entity, porn is woven into the fabric of the digital media assemblage. An integral part of our daily media consumption, sometimes more so than traditional sources. Every day, instant coffee in hand, I log into my dashboard and voluntarily submit myself to a sexual trance. Unblinking and mouth agape, I stare at an endless stream of beautiful men tenderly embracing and showing off their cocks, of assholes being pampered, probed, and kissed, of pulsating piston-like thrusting that I can almost feel inside my own body, and orgasmic facial close-ups of mouths so wide open I can practically hear them moaning in ecstasy. Now, you're telling me that I have the obsession with sexuality, and this person doesn't? This person's expressing a perfectly healthy impulse and not obsession? No, of course not. It's people like me with the problem. I'm the one with the problem. I'm the one who recognizes this dysfunction for what it is. No, but I'm the problem, right? You fuck. Use an awful lot of words to explain that we need some sort of absolute morality, which can only come from a source outside ourselves. Invoking an imaginary being to get your premise is a pretty weak suggestion. No morality is absolute, it never was, and hopefully it will never be so. Morality is innate in people. Religion gets its moral precepts from humans, not the other way around. The fact that you know enough to discard the biblical justification of, say, slavery proves this. You do realize that Moses set his people free. And I hope you realize that the Egyptian Empire, 80% of people that belonged to it were slaves. The Roman Empire, estimates somewhere around 70%. Do you realize the sociological impact that would have, setting all of everybody free at once because freedom? The concept of individuals owning their own labor is a pretty recent one. A recent one, ironically enough, invented and enforced by the empires within the jurisdiction of Christendom. And what did you say? What did you say? No morality is absolute. And then the line right below that, morality is innate in people. No morality is absolute. Morality is innate in people. And who put it there, you retard? You see, with people, we're not rational creatures, we're rationalizing creatures. Any stupid decision we make, we can rationalize it. We can rationalize it from every conceivable angle. We can trick ourselves into thinking the wrong we do is actually right. But you know what? It's still wrong. If it were right, we wouldn't have to go through all these mental gymnastics to justify it, as you're doing right now. You, the faithful in general, will talk around the subject, find all manners of excuses and alleged explanations to make their biblical view fit with reality and with their innate moral compass. That is you doing that, not some god or spirit. No, I'm doing the rationalization. I'm trying to rationalize my sin, which is what you're doing right now. Even biblical literalists will bullshit themselves into an aneurysm to make the two views fit. The only thing you manage to prove without much doubt is that religion is toxic to anything it touches. Is religion responsible for man's rebellion against the inherent order in creation? Please tell me what religion Norway is following, the religion that tells them it's okay to cause your child confusion. Damaging confusion. It's okay to chop off their cock and balls and dress them up like a girl. That's fine. What religion says that? You tell me. Get back to me on that one. Where did I leave off here? It is worrying to the extreme that you don't understand that faith or of whatever kind needs to be kept out of social and political life. We do. I have countless hours of show. I have countless hours of material documenting what happens when we adopt secularism as our predominant worldview. AIDS, drug addiction, weed, dude, vaping meth. What else? Saudi oil tycoons shitting on the faces of women, and they're paying to do this. Secularism's working out really good. Omitting this leads to a theocracy. We had enough of those already. Religion has stultified the world for nearly 5,000 years, and it is the highest time that we let go of this infantile attempt to make ourselves feel better or safer. I don't know, I don't feel too much better about the world I live in since taking my religion more seriously. So save this, oh, religion's a crutch, it's just to make you feel better. Save that bullshit for whatever subreddit you crawled from. Between people not accepting evolution, which is just as powerfully stupid as not accepting gravity, is it? I don't know. I've known a lot of creationists. They have kids. They know how that whole thing works. They have a pretty functional understanding of human anatomy. Stupid and plain dumb people homeschooling their unfortunate kids, and a general hostility to science. Science, dude, science. The US managed just about to stay ahead of Russia on the PISA test for educational standards. That is 37th in the world. Yes, 37, no typo. Out of how many countries? That's still in the upper echelon. The US barely manages to beat Russia, a country desperately trying to recover from however many years of communism. That left a dent. Oh yeah, communism. Communism didn't like religion very much, did they? And look at all the great progress they made. And despite that massive setback communism is responsible for in Russia, they're doing pretty good. They're just behind America. And isn't it interesting that the Orthodox Church in Russia is on the rise? And I think it's interesting you blame low PISA test scores on homeschooling. I find that very interesting. Very few people in America homeschool. Most people are content to let the school districts that they live within, they're perfectly happy to let them raise their children. We love education in America. It helps us to avoid the horrible chore of raising children. What else? If any Republican faithnik starts bellyaching about making America great again, he should be punched in the face. The only way to make America great and put it back on the path to innovation is to get rid of this hostility towards reality and to put your money fair and square on education, not conditioning. Education is conditioning, you dumb fuck. You really think that education is happening in a gender studies class? Look, I'm educated. I have a degree in queer theory. I have a degree in being black. Now that's what I call innovative. That's what I call some good education. Oh, here's a good one from the same dipshit. Maybe the next Einstein is a black lesbian transgender woman in a wheelchair. And so what? America's best black students, the ones that get accepted into Ivy League schools, come from households that have two parents, a mom and a dad. These kids are not some sort of weird sexual deviant. In other words, they don't invest their energy in the axe they have to grind. This comment here, oh, maybe the next Einstein's black transgendered lesbian woman. This comment here shows your complete and irreparable obliviousness to human nature. You think that sex perverts put their energy into that which benefits humanity. The only thing they put their energy into is that which benefits their orgasm, or that which gives them social justice brownie points at grad school or their do-nothing government jobs. What else? It would be a crime to miss her insights just because a section of the population is too stupid to make a distinction between what matters and what doesn't. Funny that you talk about imaginary non-existent sky daddies. You're hinging a whole argument on an imaginary black lesbian transgender woman Einstein in a wheelchair. Placing your hopes and faith in humans is your only choice. If you don't, what you have left are spirits, invisible sky daddies, and all manners of myths written by epileptic desert dwellers millennia ago. Yeah, and despite their epilepsy, despite the fact that they lived in the desert, they were able to write down and document this wisdom that has stood the test of time. Which is more than I can say for this comment. None of these authors knew anything about anything. A current 10-year-old from a mediocre school knows more about more than all of the authors of the Gospels put together. I don't know. We just read that, we read that headline about how kids think they can grow up to be black adults. White kids, they know a lot. No, they know a lot. None of the examples he cited mean anything in respect to a belief in myth being better than an adherence to reality. Are there weirdos? Yeah, sure, so what? Yeah, sure, so what? Why is it whenever it comes to debilitating dysfunctions, it's just like, oh, they're just weirdos, so what? As if their dysfunctions have no gravity. As if they don't affect anything around them. Compare that with cutting a part of the genitalia to conform a covenant with an imaginary being, and who is a weirdo now? I don't need to see a teenager's tits on a class photo either, but I don't feel threatened by it. Yet you do feel threatened by circumcision, which actually provided a function before proper sanitation facilities existed. What else does this comment say? We're almost done. And all these Swedes and Scandinavians you lambast are all miles better than American kids in about any subject you can name as far as education goes. If you want stupid behavior, go have a look when spring break is on in the US. And before you criticize the whole people, you do well to go and have a look at the place. You may be very surprised at what you find. See, this is an interesting comment because it tells you everything you need to know about the state of Swedish society. Remember that story we did about these groups of, I think they're like neo-Nazis or something, maybe not, maybe they're just ordinary nationalists. Regardless, they went out and beat up migrants in response to the massive amounts of rapes of Swedish women by North African immigrants. And how did the women respond to this? With a hashtag campaign. What was that hashtag called? What was that hashtag? No, hashtag not your women. We don't belong to you. We don't belong to you, Swedish men. If that's what your great education is producing, have it. Such educated women you have. They defend their rapists over their defenders. But hey, you know so much. You know more than those epileptic desert dwellers. Always nice to hear from you, enlightened, educated Northern Europeans. You aren't emblematic of a decline of an entire tribe. No, you aren't. You're not a living emblem of your own death. You're not the animated dead. You're doing really well. It's funny. These women will defend savages over you. Because these savages will actually place demands on these women, which is really what they crave. You think they want to be left alone? No, they don't. And that's why they're like, hashtag not your women. You think they want to lead your sorry ass around? What did that emo song say? That song, the emo song back in 2006? She already has a pussy. She doesn't need another one.